From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media, or Voice of America, on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is urging Filipinos to pause, reflect, and renew their faith as the nation marks Palm Sunday and the start of Holy Week. In a message released Sunday, the President joined the country in observing one of Christianity's most sacred seasons, highlighting the values of sacrifice, service, and compassion. He said Holy Week is a reminder of Christ's immeasurable love and his obedience to the Father. President Marcos underscored the deeper meaning of Christ's passion, saying true greatness is found not in power or privilege, but in humility and the willingness to carry the burdens of others. He encouraged Filipinos to turn faith into action by helping their communities and standing firm amid challenges. The chief executive expressed hope that this year's observance will inspire unity and strengthen the nation's resolve toward progress. April 2 and 3, Monday, Thursday, and Good Friday, are regular holidays, while April 4th, Black Saturday, is a special non-working day.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. confirmed that the 48th Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN Leaders Summit in Cebu will push through on May 8 and 9 despite regional tensions and rising oil prices. Speaking to reporters in Cavite Province, the president said the decision came after consultations with leaders of the 10 other ASEAN member states. He explained that while the Middle East conflict has created major challenges, the consensus was clear. Now is the time for Southeast Asia to coordinate more closely and not postpone discussions. President Marcos said this year's summit will be bare bones, focusing on three urgent issues: oil supply, food security, and migrant workers. He stressed that ASEAN must determine how to respond to global shocks and how member states can support one another in the months ahead. The chief executive also said the 49th ASEAN Summit in November in Pasay City is still expected to proceed, noting that world leaders are scheduled to attend. As part of its 2026 ASEAN chairship, the Philippines is set to host 650 ministerial and senior-level meetings. Some Senate leaders earlier pushed for postponement, citing the economic strain caused by the Middle East crisis and the potential to save more than 17 billion pesos. They proposed redirecting summit funds to help cushion the impact of rising oil prices on the economy.
We have consulted with our counterparts in the other member states, in the 10 other member states. And the question that I asked them is very simple. Would you prefer, because everybody's busy with the oil crisis that's going on because of the war in the Middle East, would you like to postpone the ASEAN summit the consensus that we came to is that it is precisely now that we must coordinate our efforts. So that is what we are going to do. Ipapatuloy natin yung ASEAN Summit. Ngunit, the way that we describe it is that we have, it is a bare bones ASEAN Summit. It's just, we will be talking about three main subjects. About the supply of petroleum and petroleum products, about the supply of food and the price of food, and migrant workers. Those will be the three subject matters that we will be taking up in the ASEAN Summit. It will be over a period of maybe a day and a half, imbes na yung mahaba, what we had planned. Lahat ng plinano natin, sabi ko, baka hindi naman ngayon ang panahon na masyadong elaborate ang ating preparasyon. Ang kailangan talaga sa panahon na ito ay makapag-usap kami mga leader upang malaman natin kung what do we do in the future, what do we do for the rest of the year, what do we do, how can we help each other, and what is the ASEAN position regarding all of these shocks that are coming our way. So that is yun ang nagiging usapan sa ASEAN. Tuloy tayo sa May 7, May 8, but as I said, it will be a very bare-bones summit which will focus very closely on those three subject matters: oil, food, and migrant workers.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
In line with Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to ensure the safe and orderly return of overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, amid rising tensions in the Middle East, another batch of Filipinos is now back on home soil. A total of 338 repatriated Filipinos arrived at Villamor Air Base in Pasay City on Sunday. They were flown in via the 4th chartered flight from the United Arab Emirates and the 6th repatriation flight overall since the government began its large-scale evacuation efforts. Of the latest arrivals, 203 are OFWs. 125 are family dependents, and 10 are other stranded Filipinos who sought government assistance to return home. The newest batch brings the total number of Filipinos assisted in the ongoing repatriation operations to 3,248. Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW Secretary Hans Leo said, the government continues to implement a whole-of-government approach to ensure the safety and welfare of Filipinos affected by the regional conflict. The coordinated effort involves the DMW, the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, the Department of Health, or DOH, and several other agencies working together to facilitate transport, medical checks, and reintegration support.
Charter flight na ayon sa tagubilin ng ating Pangulo isagawa para sa kaligtasan, sa kapakanan, welfare and well-being of our OFWs na nasa gitna ng hidwaan ngayon sa Middle East. At ito ay 328 sila, OFWs and their families coming home.
Was Department of Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Magpayo.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Philippine National Police, or PNP, is doubling down on discipline and integrity, echoing President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s call for a stronger and more accountable police force. Speaking at the 47th commencement exercises of the PNP Academy, or PNPA Silang Paglaom class of 2026, the President acknowledged improving public trust in the PNP but warned that national security is weakened whenever law enforcers themselves are involved in wrongdoing. President Marcos urged the new graduates to uphold the highest standards of professionalism and to help drive reforms within the organization. In response, the PNP reported intensified internal cleansing efforts. From January 1st to March 25th this year, 740 personnel have already faced administrative sanctions. Of that number, 232 were dismissed, 36 were demoted, and 333 suspended, while others received penalties such as forfeiture of salary, reprimand, restriction, or loss of privileges. The PNP said these actions reflect the ongoing push under its focused agenda, particularly on integrity monitoring to ensure swift and decisive action against erring members. PNP Chief Police General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. said, the President's message strengthens the organization's resolve to clean its ranks. He stressed that integrity must be lived, not merely discussed, and that those who violate the law have no place in the service. He added that the administrative figures show the PNP is not hesitating to act against its own personnel to protect the institution's credibility. General Nartates also called on the new PNPA graduates to embody professionalism and accountability, saying they will carry the banner of reform in the years ahead. The PNP assures the public that it will sustain its reform efforts, strengthen internal monitoring, and continue decisive action against misconduct as it works to build a more credible and service-oriented police force.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Department of Health, or DOH, is placing all its hospitals and emergency teams under code White Alert starting March 30th as the country prepares for the Holy Week rush. Under the alert status, DOH hospitals will have medical personnel on standby 24 hours a day to respond to road crashes, injuries, and other emergencies. The heightened readiness will remain in effect until April 6th. DOH spokesperson Albert Domingo reminded the public to take precautions amid the intense heat, urging everyone to stay hydrated and drink 7 to 8 glasses of clean water daily, except for individuals with medical restrictions. He also advised the public to call 911 for any emergency assistance. Holy Week is traditionally one of the Philippines' busiest travel periods, with millions of Filipinos heading to the provinces or out-of-town destinations. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines expects around 6.5 million passengers to pass through the 44 commercial airports it operates from March 28th to April 5th. Passenger volume is projected to peak mid-week. Last year, Holy Week air travel surged by 18%, reaching 6 million passengers compared to 5.1 million in 2024.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Bureau of Immigration, or BI, is urging Holy Week travelers to head to the airport early and come prepared, as passenger traffic is expected to surge in the coming days. The BI reminds outbound and inbound passengers to arrive at least 3 hours before their flights and to secure all required travel documents ahead of time. Among the key requirements is the e-travel clearance, which must be accomplished online through etravel.gov.ph or the eGovPH super app at least 72 hours before departure. Immigration Commissioner Joel Anthony Viado said the agency is bracing for heavy passenger volume across major international airports. At the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA alone, Operator New NAIA Infra Corporation expects around 1.35 million passengers from March 28th to April 5th. Viado said immigration officers are fully deployed to ensure smooth processing, but early arrival and complete documents remain crucial to avoiding delays. Foreign nationals staying in the Philippines for more than 6 months are reminded to secure their immigration clearance certificates before leaving the country. Registered foreigners with Alien Certificate of Registration Identity Cards or ACR I-cards must also obtain their re-entry permits in advance, either from BI offices or the one-stop shop at NAIA. Filipino government workers traveling abroad, even for personal trips, must present a travel authority from their respective agencies. Meanwhile, minors traveling alone or without their parents must secure a travel clearance from the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Commissioner Viado said earlier processing of requirements helps decongest airport queues and ensure a more seamless travel experience. He added that the e-gates system is fully operational, significantly speeding up processing at immigration counters.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, said price increases for basic goods will take effect only starting April 17th, following a meeting with major manufacturers and retailers over the weekend. In a statement, the DTI said companies agreed to hold off any upward price adjustments until April 16th to help keep prices stable amid the impact of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Manufacturers have committed to temporarily absorb higher logistics and inventory costs as part of this effort. Among those present at the meeting were representatives from leading food, household, and consumer goods companies, including Alaska Milk, Century Pacific, Nestle Philippines, Procter & Gamble, San Miguel Foods, Unilever, Universal Robina, and several others. The Canned Sardines Association of the Philippines also joined the discussions. Retail groups such as Robinson's Retail, SM Markets, Metro Retail Stores, and the Philippine Amalgamated Supermarkets Association likewise participated. The DTI clarified that while Malacañang has declared a state of national energy emergency, this does not trigger an automatic price freeze. Under the Price Act, a 60-day price freeze applies only when an area is placed under a state of calamity. The agency is now intensifying nationwide monitoring to ensure stable prices and adequate supply of essential goods. DTI oversees 726 product variants, including 196 items with suggested retail prices or SRPs. These cover canned sardines and meat, coffee, processed milk, instant noodles, condiments, soap, candles, salt, batteries, bottled water, and bread. Consumers are encouraged to check the full list of basic necessities and their SRPs through the DTI website and official social media channels as well as in supermarkets and groceries.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Manila Electric Company, or Meralco, is assuring customers of stable and reliable power service throughout the Holy Week. Meralco Vice President and Corporate Communications Head, Joe Zaldarriaga, said, response teams will be on 24/7 standby to address any power-related concerns across the company's franchise areas. He added that Meralco joins the nation in observing a solemn and safe Holy Week, with crews fully prepared to respond whenever needed. The power distributor also issued safety reminders, especially for families planning to leave their homes for several days. Customers are advised to unplug appliances when not in use, avoid overloading outlets or using octopus connections, keep electrical cords organized and away from walkways, and ensure devices are kept far from water sources. Meralco business centers will be closed from Maundy Thursday to Easter Sunday, April 2nd to the 5th. Regular operations resume on Monday, April 6th.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, is mobilizing an initial 1.2 billion peso standby fund to strengthen assistance for vulnerable workers amid the ongoing situation in the Middle East. In a statement, DOLE said the fund will be channeled through its flagship social protection programs. The tulong panghanap buhay sa ating disadvantaged displaced workers or TUPAD for emergency employment and the DOLE Integrated Livelihood Program or DILP for livelihood support. These interventions are intended for workers who may be displaced as a result of the current energy emergency. For the first quarter of 2026 alone, DOLE reported that 110,106 vulnerable workers have already received assistance worth 753.69 million pesos through TUPAD and DILP. The agency has also adopted the Unified Package for Livelihoods, Industry, Food and Transport, or UPLIFT, under Executive Order 110, which declared the national energy emergency. The measure allows government agencies to address risks from global energy disruptions and their impact on the domestic economy, including the labor sector. To support UPLIFT, DOLE is coordinating closely with the Departments of Transportation, Social Welfare and Development, the Interior and local governments to roll out targeted emergency employment and livelihood programs, starting with transport workers to help maintain economic activity and mobility for the riding public. Industries such as agriculture and fisheries have also been identified as priority sectors for similar assistance. DOLE is likewise working with the Department of Migrant Workers and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration to identify repatriated OFWs who may need job matching skills training through the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority or TESDA or livelihood support. As part of the National Reintegration Network, DOLE will join the DMW's Bayanihan para sa Balikbayang Manggagawa in April to provide a one-stop platform for reintegration services. Meanwhile, DOLE continues to expand employment opportunities through monthly job fairs nationwide. Since January, the agency has mounted 144 job fairs, including those for senior high school and ALS graduates, as well as displaced construction workers. In line with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive for timely wage reviews, all 16 regional wage boards have issued new minimum wage orders for the 2025 to 2026 cycle. The latest adjustment for Region 5 takes effect on April 8th. DOLE will also convene with the National Tripartite Industrial Peace Council to craft additional strategies and action plans in response to the energy emergency.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.